So welcome everyone. Thanks for coming along to Cannon Hill for our first AGM in Queensland. Last year we were in Melbourne. Before that we've had them in Sydney. So we want to try and get around the countryside and get people that are members of ATSA to come along and participate in the AGM. So welcome to everyone that's here. I would just like to point out that we have the competition law statement. So as we are all kind of competitors and friends in here at ATSA, we need to just read this. I'll leave you to do that for a second. Does anyone here have questions on the obligations? Okay, good. Well, we'll get started with the formal proceedings of the meeting. So this is the agenda. First off, I'll just go through the apologies. So we have Ian Hogg from Specialised Wheelchairs, Nick Whitcomb from Blue Badge, Sean O'Brien and Carol O'Brien from Emprise, Simone Fayer from Specialised Wheelchairs, Natalie Wibberley from Scooters and Mobility, Greg Rendell from Total Mobility, Sarah Bolt from Permobile, Wim Hartog from Wheeler Innovations, Owen Dawes from Permobile, and Michael Stanley from Scooters and Mobility Wagga. So they're the apologies. Are there any other apologies that anyone knows about? Okay, very good. So I just need to go through and the formal proceedings. So anyone have any questions on the minutes from last year's meeting? And if not, then can I have thank you. A mover, thank you, Chris. And a seconder. Okay, thanks, Craig. So minutes are approved from last year's meeting. Okay, and I'll go through the chairman's report. Well, it's been a pretty busy year, 2019. I think as a board, we previously were a committee and we moved to a new structure in 2018, and in 2019 we really started to embed that. So we've made a lot of progress. I think one of the most important things we did was actually really refine our strategy. And we spent a lot of time as a board group, and we set up individual working groups, but we ended up with 4 key strategic imperatives. The first of those was practice good governance. The second was promoting the ATSA brand, so it's more of a marketing side of things. We wanted to generate new revenue, and most importantly, we wanted to develop a member value proposition. So we've had subcommittees working on that. All of the board members and some others are part of those subcommittees, and I think we've made some really good progress throughout 2019. So David will spend some time going through a lot of detail. I will just kind of highlight, I guess, some of the key things that have happened. We've had a 21% growth in membership. So we've gone from 117 members to 142. That's in a time of industry consolidation. So I think that's a pretty outstanding achievement. The expos were a fantastic success. We had 3 events this year: Sydney, Brisbane and Canberra. Canberra was a new venue, and we had over 5,000 attendees, 280 exhibitors and 96 educational presentations over those 3 events. All 3 events were profitable, and we look forward to 2020 in Melbourne and Perth. So that'll be good. We haven't been quiet in the governance area. We moved to a registered charity under the ACNC. We changed our name to be the Assistive Technology Suppliers Australia as opposed to Australasia, and we adopted proper board meeting standards and record keeping. So that was a big change from where we were. We've been a leading voice in advocacy on behalf of the industry. We're a member of NATA, which is National AT Alliance. We're part of a number of industry reference groups. We have representation on Standards Australia, the ME 067 committee, and we represented on the RVSA working group for car imports. In fact, I think Geoff is doing a lot of work there for us there. We've been active in key projects around improving the understanding within the industry and raising the industry's profile. And some of these things you might not actually really understand or recognise that we've been working on. So University of Wollongong Research Grant, we were awarded $356,000 over 3 years, and this is all about MMDs in public spaces. Industry self-regulation, investigation and data project on scooters, has been completed, and we're expanding that into power wheelchairs. So for the first time as an industry, we're starting to see data that allows us to, to work with. We've worked closely with New Zealand. We helped them set up the Assistive Technology Suppliers New Zealand body, and that we've allowed them actually to leverage off a lot of the hard work that we've done over the last few years, and so shortcut their learning, so that's been great. We've been involved in a number of industry issues, such as the Joint Standing Committee, which is ongoing, the AT inquiry, submission and attendance to hearing, the planning inquiries around the various forms of AT, MMD, speed and weight matter, this is ongoing, the Road Vehicle Standards Bill, and TGA, Class 1 registration fee, and the review of that as a medical device. So no shortage of things that we've been doing. And of course, none of this happens without a great board that we have, a great group of people that support the board throughout the year, a fantastic team behind us in David Sinclair as our Executive Officer, and newly appointed Membership Officer, Kerry Stern. So we look forward to continuing to grow. And unfortunately, we're farewelling one of our key board members, Sam Garland, after 9 years has decided to step down from the committee and the board. He was the chair before me. He's been the treasurer for the last 3 years, and he's been a great contributor to ATSA, and I'm sure he will continue to be on the subcommittees and will also come back. I'm sure we can convince him. So, all right. So, any questions on the chairman's report? Does that need to be resolved? No. Okay. I will now hand over to David to take you through the executive officer's report.